Hello, everyone. This is Adamist. All right, so Charlie Kirk's memorial uh, concluded this past weekend. On top of that, there was a lawyer who allegedly fired shots at the ABC headquarters, and these communists are still celebrating Charlie Kirk's death and mocking the memorial. And these people are really depraved, man. And Razor Fist, I couldn't have said it better myself. Like he said it perfectly. I like. If you guys don't watch Razor Fist, I highly recommend going to subscribe in his channel. Right, he's also known as a Rageaholic. Just look up Razor Fist or Rageaholic. You'll see a metal dude with glass, like a dude that looks like a metal guy with long hair and glasses. Really good stuff. Really funny guy, very smart dude. But I couldn't have said it better myself, man. So he just pretty much says that these people are diametrically opposed to the U.S. and they are Marxism, communism. It is the antithesis of what Americans stand for. It's the antithesis of what we stand for, of what the Constitution stands for. You know, and I'll get to communism later in this video. But this brings me back to a verse I read in the Bible, and this verse has been bouncing back and forth in my head ever since I saw these people celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, man. It's Romans 1, verse 28. I'll just read verse 28. There's a lot more to it. I highly recommend you go check it out. It's hitting hard right now, man, more than ever. But anyway, yeah, Romans 1, 28. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. So what it means there is these people, at least the verse is the Apostle Paul talking about the Gentiles of the time, and that verse still freaking holds up to this day, man. Still holds up to this day. So it talks about how the people did not care to know about God. They didn't give two shits about it. They didn't want to freaking learn about him or anything. Even though, we're created by him. We're still connected to him somehow, but they wanted nothing to do with him. So he gave them over. He essentially made a judicial decision and gave them over to a depraved mind. That's what a reprobate mind is. That's what reprobate means, that they're depraved, right, or debased, and they can't discern right from wrong, and they just live a depraved life, and they give into every whim, every feeling, every fickle feeling, you know, every impulse, and they just live in depravity and sin, you know, and that's what we're witnessing. That's what we're witnessing today, and that's what the left promotes every single day. They want to hold morality over your head. They want to stand on the high ground every time. They want to be the moral arbiters every time, and they want to call you intolerant and a bigot and a Nazi, and a fascist, a xenophobe, every name they can think of. But in reality, they're just really describing themselves. They're just projecting who they are to everybody else so they don't feel guilty. And that's what it is. These people are living in sin. They have reprobate minds or depraved minds, and they can't tell right from wrong. And there's a lot more to it too. There's the guy that was living in the graveyard that Jesus healed. He was crazy. In the village, he was seen as a crazy person, and he was out of his mind. In the King James version, they say he's dumb, and that was At the time, that meant like mentally challenged, not dumb like he's stupid or whatever. But you get the point. Like he was afflicted by a legion of demons, if I remember correctly, and that's the story where Jesus expels the demons and casts them into pigs, and the pigs drown themselves, and the man is back to normal because he's healed, his mind is healed, and I believe some of these people, that's what they're dealing with. They have some of them probably grew up in some rough households. They have a family where trauma just carries over and over and over. You know, this is going to be a whole other topic for another video, but like I'll touch on it a little bit. Part of this whole Marxist ideology, not like part of this whole like communist slash Marxist ideology and stuff like that is like these people they'll mess with they'll play linguistic games. They'll change languages, you know, for their convenience, so they can push their agenda how they see fit, and they attack every facet of your society. You know, and psychology has been one of those places that they've infiltrated, and then obviously the culture will feel that, and like I believe we live in like an overly therapeutic culture right now, and everybody's diagnosed with something, everybody has some sort of trauma or whatever. I'm not saying that I don't believe in trauma. I'm just saying like, and it's always the same people too. It's always like these freaking Tumblr, TikTok types that always self-diagnose themselves with some stupid trauma or some garbage. Like I said, they want to feel special. They don't want to feel like they're the evil ones, but they're, yeah. Anyway, so I'm a firm believer that there is trauma, and a lot of these people are growing up in. I'm assuming, all right, like I can only like right now I'm just speaking off the cuff, and I'll do better in future videos to be better prepared and be more informed. What's it called? It's just time's a little nuts right now. But anyway, a bunch of these people, I wouldn't be surprised if they're growing up in broken homes, and they have trauma that they have to that they're not dealing with, that they're just letting rule over their lives. And you can say, from a secular standpoint, you can say, oh no, they're dealing with psychological issues, and from a Christian perspective, you can say they're dealing with demons, like inner demons. Or demons have been haunting their family for generations, and that's what they do. They make them depraved. They hurt them when they're very young, and then manipulate them into a certain type of life. You know, but ultimately, we all have free will. And we can make the decisions. We can make the decisions to improve ourselves. I know it's easier said than done, especially when you've only known one thing growing up. So I'm not justifying how these people are, but I'm not going to ignore certain nuances either. And that leads to what I was going to talk about next. Communism. These people are communists, dude. There's no other way around it. And I want to make a clear distinction. So what I define as a liberal is shoe on head, right, or Anarcho-Kasparian. Like they don't Anarcho-Kasparian. I'll put an asterisk on that one because she's kind of like turning things around. Recently, she's been turning things around. I think she's realizing things. She has enough self-awareness to realize like what's going on, and I respect her for that. Shoe on head is another one that like I said before, that is what I would consider a liberal. Like she doesn't hate America. She's not a freaking a blue-haired nut job. She just has a difference of opinion and sees solutions from a different perspective, right? And we can sit down. If I would sit down and have a conversation with her, we would probably have a lot of disagreements. Like she had a bunch of disagreements with Charlie Kirk, and I consider myself more right than Charlie Kirk. But she respected him enough. Like she respected him as a human being. I watched her video and her reaction to all this, and you can have disagreements and still respect each other as human beings, and as Americans. Just because we have disagreements doesn't mean we can't respect each other, even if the arguments, you know, get intense, or the debates get intense. You can still respect each other. You can still go out for a cup of coffee or drink a beer or have a good time. Because that's the beauty about being an American. You know, free speech is our number one freaking constitutional right. And I really appreciate her video and how she opened up about how she felt about it and how she saw like friends that mocked Charlie Kirk that she knew that were on the left, and then friends that are on the right that were mourning. That's pretty heavy stuff, man. I highly recommend you watch her video. Metatron also has a reaction to her video. He's another one that's, I'm gonna say, he's just on a warpath, man. And yeah, I hope he fights a good fight. He's a pretty cool dude. I watch his videos for the entertainment and the information. He has a lot of his older videos are about, the Renaissance and medieval weapons and culture and stuff like that. And it's really cool. And it's really cool to see him, react and, share how he feels and share his faith and stuff like that about what's going on. But yeah, these people, they're communists, man. And ultimately, like Razorfist said, communism has no place in America. Marxism has no place in America. It's diametrically opposed to the Constitution and our way of life. And on top of that, I personally believe it's a very evil ideology. I really do. It's a very evil political system. It's a very evil ideology. It breeds nothing but hate, envy, and greed. And people will tell you, oh, capitalism breeds greed. No, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, you have greedy people that take advantage of capitalism. But I think communism is much worse. Because look at what they say all the time. Oh, spread the wealth. It's not fair that this guy's rich. It's not fair that that guy has all that money. They just want to take, this guy who built a business and spent his whole life, creating something. They just want to take it away from him. That's evil. That's stealing. And then, of course, you look at every other communist country. I'm from Cuba, Cuba included. These so-called communists they create a little club and they collect all the freaking money and all the resources for themselves, and everyone else starves. You know, it's a very evil ideology. It's a very evil system. And it just can't exist here. It can't. And I personally think we have to stamp it out. I think Senator McCarthy he was right. He was in fact correct, and he is an unsung hero. Razorfist has a very interesting video about Senator McCarthy. I highly recommend you guys watch it. It's lengthy, but it's good. And to end things on a lighthearted note, Silent Hill F comes out on September 25th, I believe. IGN has a review up already. Game Ranks has a review up. I'm a little iffy about it, man. To me, it's not a Silent Hill game. It's not. It reminds me of Siren or Fatal Frame. It really doesn't look or feel like a Silent Hill game to me. And I've been a lifelong fan. I've been playing Silent Hill since the very first one, since it released. And if you're a Silent Hill fan, you know what I'm talking about. You know how it's been a roller coaster ride for like the past, 30 something odd years. But what's it called? I'm still hoping the game does well, and it looks like it's doing pretty good. I don't know, like it's getting some really good scores. IGN gave it a 7, but I'm gonna be honest, man. Like I don't trust these game journalists, especially now. I don't trust these people at all. I'm gonna release a video talking about Silent Hill F and reacting to IGN's review on it. I'm not sure if I'll be able to reference their videos, or I guess I can do a 10-second clip. I don't know. I have to figure out the whole copyright thing with YouTube, because I don't want my videos getting taken down. Like, I don't care about being monetized, but I would like to have my videos shared. But I'll create a separate video on that later on this week. But my friends are super excited about it. I have a my best friend's younger brother. I got him into Silent Hill. He was in love with part two, and I told him, bro, you gotta branch out, man. There's more stuff out there besides part two. He fell in love with Silent Hill 3, and now he's looking forward to F. And hopefully, for his sake and many other Silent Hill fans out there, like I hope they enjoy the game. I hope the game is good for them. For me, I'm gonna wait. I might borrow. I don't want to give Konami money just yet because going back to the whole overly therapeutic thing, I think they're focusing on the wrong thing when it comes to Silent Hill. But I'll leave that up. I'll leave that topic up for another video. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. All right. You have a good night. God bless. Take care. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Check out the rest of my socials, and good night.